I think Scott Pelly's got his own problems. He's terrible. Look, Scott Pelly's a stiff, and he's afraid, and he's part of this, gang of crooked, stupid people that don't care about our country.
Hi, hello, how you doing? Navigator here. We have some great news. Another one bites the dust, as in another propagandist who do nothing but shill for the Democrat Party, has finally lost his job. Scott Pelly? I believe that's what his name is. Scott Pelly? Yeah, from 60 Minutes. He's finally been fired because, well, honestly, just like with majority of the legacy media, MSNBC, the Commie News Network, BS Now, they're all shills for the Democrat Party. They do nothing but blaze the Democrats, never talk about the news or anything they do bad, only attack Trump and Republicans and Christians and white people. They'll never tell the truth. Hell, I bet I know for a fact they have not said anything about Lincoln Riley at all, or many of the other people who were unalived went bye-bye, turn it off by people who aren't supposed to be here, not Americans. And they got and here's the thing, 60 Minutes got a new boss who, what she wants to do is to make the news and actually fill it with journalists, because the majority of these people who work in the news aren't journalists or activists. They're activists for the Democrat Party. And because of that, this fool got upset and actually attacked his boss and said that she was ruining the company like he owned something, which I think is hilarious because these people don't own anything. Like, it's sad when they start to believe their own propaganda too, and now he got fired for it. Take a look.
This morning, turmoil at 60 Minutes.
I'm Scott Pelly.
Veteran correspondent Scott Pelly blasting CBS News leadership in a fiery meeting Monday, accusing editor-in-chief Bari Weiss of murdering the revered show, according to a source in the room and an audio recording obtained by NBC News. The tense exchange came during a staff meeting with the brand new 60 Minutes executive producer, technology journalist and documentary maker Nick Bilton, who was tapped by Weiss last week, despite never having worked in traditional broadcast news. At Monday's meeting, Bilton warned staff that broadcast is an ice cube that is melting, and the show must adapt, but added that Weiss loved 60 Minutes, according to the recording. At that, Pelly interrupted, saying firmly, she does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it, and she's been doing exactly that, adding she has no qualifications for her job, and telling his new boss directly, you have slender qualifications for this job. Former 60 Minutes head Bill Owens also blasting CBS Monday night.
Scott can smell a fraud from a mile away.
As concerns grow for the landmark show.
60 Minutes really is the crown jewel of American journalism, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety among people.
The fiery meeting comes just days after Weiss fired the show's executive producer, Tanya Simon, her deputy, and two 60 Minutes correspondents. Among them, Sharon Alfonsi, whose story questioning the Trump administration's immigration policies was temporarily held by Weiss just before it was set to air in December. Alfonsi publicly calling that a political decision, while Weiss said the segment wasn't ready. Tensions between journalists and leadership had already been high since David Ellison took over CBS News parent company Paramount last year and appointed Weiss, a former columnist critical of legacy media, as editor-in-chief. Since then, the network and 60 Minutes has seen multiple shakeups, including the loss of star Anderson Cooper.
To give up something you've watched since you were a kid, yeah, I will miss this.
Now some wonder if the clock is ticking on a Sunday institution.
A lot of folks.
Here, you know what I think is really hilarious about this? It really does show that these activists pretend to be journalists. They do not know how to handle a real boss. I mean, for Christ's sake, you attack your boss publicly and you think you're not going to get fired? Well, that just tells you that they were not running that 60 Minutes as a real business. They weren't. It was nothing more than a propaganda station made for Democrats to do nothing but attack the West, attack white men, attack men, Christians, anyone in general who don't align with Democrats. Heck, check. They will not say anything about Henry. They won't. We won't hear it. Everything for George Floyd, but nothing for Henry, which is just make me sick. And it didn't take long for the other propagandists, like Rachel Maddow, that weird woman from BS Now, to go on to defend her comrade, because that's what they are. They're comrades against the West, America. Take a look, and it's just really...
The storied, venerable journalist and 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelly has tonight been fired by the newly revamped CBS News. Yesterday, Mr. Pelly reportedly lambasted the new leadership at 60 Minutes and at CBS for effectively killing the long-running news magazine after firing scores of staff members and its leadership and after accusations of meddling in the show's editorial process. For that, directly as a result of that confrontation at a staff meeting, Mr. Pelly appears to have been fired by the network for cause. MS Now has obtained the letter sent to Mr. Pelly this evening from the newly appointed executive producer at 60 Minutes. He's just been installed there as part of the sort of bald-faced Hungarian-style oligarchic takeover of that news organization. This newly appointed executive wrote to Scott Pelly, and the imbalance in terms of journalistic experience there is remarkable, given what the contents of the letter is. The contents of the letter are. The letter says in part to Scott Pelly, quote, "Yesterday you hijacked my first meeting with staff to disparage me, my qualifications, and my intentions with remarkable incivility and contempt." The letter from the newly appointed executive producer goes on to say that Mr. Pelly was terminated for cause, effective immediately.
As Don was saying, make no mistake, they don't care about the ratings. They don't care about making money. This is an ideological and partisan political project on the part of the Ellisons, the Trump-friendly Ellisons who now control Paramount, who, by the way, are trying to take control of WBD and CNN and turn it into this giant media conglomerate that will essentially act like a state media organization in support of Donald Trump.
Yes, and before anyone say anything, I just wish to make one thing clear. This has really nothing to do with even Trump or authoritarian and blah, blah, what they have to say. This is just them pissed off about losing more power and control. That's it. Everything with the Democrats is power control. Because we all know at this point, all BS Now, the Commie News Network, and the rest, all except for Fox, and even Fox is bad, are all shills for the Democrat Party. That's just a fact. And because of that, they have no real fan base, and they're losing viewers. And they're losing viewers. And especially since they lost USAID money. Remember USAID? It was taking our tax dollars, and they were giving it to all these legacy networks to push propaganda for the Democrat Party. That's what really got them. They weren't just were not receiving infinite money from the government, Democrats. And because of that, they actually had to work for it. Like, remember Nick Shirley? Him showing everybody the fraud that was going on in Minnesota? The only reason the legacy media did a story about it was because Nick Shirley one-upped them. And it makes them look bad because they've known about it for years. And like there's also another thing they're pissed off is about all these activists like Rachel Maddow, the black one from Abby Phillips, Stephen Colbert, all of them, they're all activists. They're not journalists. There's a reason why as soon as they get fired, they go on YouTube, go far left, and then people realize that nobody really cares about them. The only reason people know their name was because they were on a network. There's a reason why everybody forgot who Joy Reid was as soon as she got kicked off the air. No one wants to listen to her voice. No. And yeah, they're learning that having a microphone don't make you invincible. Yeah, and here's Nick Shirley talking about it more true.
And it's like every day is a new shot to the ego.
Exactly. It really is actually. I think that's actually why, because they're starting to see like their viewership, like they're losing all their viewership, and now they're actually having to do stuff. Mm-hmm. Like seriously, they actually have to do stuff because I was just watching them with the hospice fraud. They only had to cover that because I exposed the Minnesota fraud.
Right. They did it after you did it.
And so they knew about that for so many years, I'm sure, but it doesn't make their side look good. Mm-hmm. And now they're trying to have like fair reporting, and now they're freaking out.
Yeah. How dare these new people come in and tell us not to be the way they were something special, Jamie, when we were kids. Do you remember watching 60 Minutes as a child?
Absolutely.
In the foster home?
I thought it went off the air when we were kids.
Yeah.
Honest to God, it was like we would all, but it was because there were very few options. It was 3 television channels.
Yes.
Remember, that was it, and we had to watch it. I mean, like, options are a big part of it. I remember I was happily married till my wife met those guys at work. There were other options. And didn't they hire her to shake things up because they weren't like smashing number one? Like,
right.
Isn't that part of why you hire a new guard? And some hurtful things were said. They were like, you're not qualified. You're not the person for this job, which I've been told during sex, and it's hurtful. And that ticking clock, 6 minutes, that's now counting down to who gets fired next. Because you're right. Like, you have to, the boss is the boss.
Yeah.
The boss got the job as the boss, and you might not like things they say, but you have to sort of go along with it because they were hired for a reason. Say they say something about your relationship with your kids or your ex-wife. You have to smile and go home and cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he's right. They're mad because they have to fight and actually be competitive again, which communists hate. Also, something communists hate, they do not have a hierarchy system. Like, last time I checked, you do not go to your boss's office while he's having a meeting just to cry at him and say that you're being mean and that because you won't show for the Democrats and that you're being too easy on Republicans, which by easy just mean by neutral, because Democrats can't play on an equal field. They can't. They really can't. Look at the redistricting thing. They absolutely cannot. If the media in this country was actually neutral, didn't hate America, didn't hate the West, there would be no Democrat winning ever. I mean, heck, they still have not talked about Henry, which, let's be honest, I didn't think they would because they hate white people. Yeah. And with this, I'm going to go through the Bible, which a passage just makes sense because we are in a new world, which the media morons aren't really figuring out. All things made new. Revelations 20:21. Now I saw the new heaven and the new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also, there was no more sea. Then John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bridge adored for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God. Thank you. This has been Navigator Podcast. Please come back again soon. Have a nice day.